Holy doodly there, neighborinos. Hope you're having a flanderific day. Um, Sorry, I'm getting this set up. There we go. I doubt this is going to be a very long episode. I'm honestly not super feeling it. Um, well, I mean, I guess I just mean streaming in general, I suppose. Um, I don't know. I met up with some friends from high school last night, and I don't know. Doesn't have me feeling super great. Um, so first things first, we need to go ahead and take a look at the Bible verse from last week that I forgot to do. Proverbs 16:3. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Pretty great Bible verse, I think. Then again, I tend to like pretty much anything from Proverbs. You know, I like King Solomon a lot. um, so you know what? Let me go ahead and grab. Oh, whoops. Some stuff to go ahead and make another book and quill, so we can do a Bible verse at the end of the stream, which I don't have pre-picked out, so that's going to be an issue. But that'll be an issue for later me. Yeah, so I think for this episode it's going to be another talkie instead of a video watchy. Um, because I don't know, I don't really feel like it. And I've actually been reading some interesting uh books. I mean, I guess they're the deuterocanonical ones. Because I trying to read the Bible in order, and I'm including in apocrypha. So, and like things that made it into Orthodox, but maybe not like Protestant or Catholicism, or things that made it into Catholicism but not the others. And yeah, I'm reading them all. Um, I finished Nehemiah, which is uh, it's in pretty much every Bible. Um, Not a whole lot to say about that. Nothing that I wouldn't have already said about Ezra or First Esdras. It's, you know, kind of all the same story. Um, yeah, nothing to really add there. Um, then after Nehemiah, I read Tobit, which is one that's in Catholicism and Orthodox, but it's not in Protestant. Um, and that's an interesting book. Very odd. It's an odd book. Um, some things I don't quite agree with in there, and I think that's why it didn't quite make it into Protestantism, honestly. But since I don't think this is a book that like a bunch of people are familiar with, I mean, maybe if you're a Catholic or you're Orthodox, you might have like a better summary of this book in your mind. But personally, I had never heard of it. Well, I mean, I'd heard of it, but I'd never read it or knew what it was about until today. So I think we're just going to talk about that and some of the things that I disagree with in the book and why I guess, glad that it is not a part of Protestantism. So basically, the book starts out in Nineveh, I think. And yeah, it takes place in Nineveh. And the Assyrian king takes over. It would have been the northern kingdom. It would have been Israel. All right. So he takes over that, right? And Tobit is this dude that, like, he used to kind of be in favor with the king, but then the king died and someone else took over, and then he was not so much in favor with the king, and then he started doing things that the king really didn't like, such as burying dead Jews and helping the poor and shit like that. So the king basically puts a hit out on him, and he has to flee his house, and he has to leave everything behind. And then over time, another king ends up taking the throne, and he's kind of cool with Tobit. So Tobit, gets to go back home. And he just keeps doing the same thing. He keeps helping the poor, burying the dead, stuff like that. And then it takes like a weird. Oh, and he also has a son named Tobias, that's going to be very important later on. But then, I forgot one of the weird details. This is like one of the weirdest things that happens in the book. So while Tobit is out burying the dead, he like decides to rest by like a wall, right? And a bird shits in his eyes, and he goes blind. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is ridiculous. How could bird shit in your eye make you go blind? And that's what I thought. I went and I looked it up. Apparently, it is medically possible that if a bird shits in your eye, I don't know how that would happen, but if that does somehow happen, it can cause you to go blind. So fungus will grow in your eyes and will like make you blind, essentially. So Tobit is now blind. And then it takes a really weird cut over to this woman named Sarah, I want to say. Whatever, her name is not super important, but also it's kind of important because she's kind of a main character, but whatever. She is getting accused by a servant of hers for killing all of her husbands. So she's been married like 6 or 7 times, I want to say. And every time, like, so in Jewish custom, or at least in, maybe it still's a thing today, I don't know. There's like, I forget what they call it, but like on the wedding day is when you would do it, So I guess every time before they had the chance to do it, her husbands would end up like strangled, and so her servant is like accusing her of murder, right? And she's like, but no, I didn't actually kill them. Like, I don't know what the hell is up, but it's not me. I'm not doing it. And then apparently it turns out that she has a demon that is attached to her, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, who is like killing all of her husbands before they can, Marvin Gaye style, get it on. So she, I think, prays for death or something, and I want to say Tobit also prays for death because he's blind and he can't provide for his family or anything because he's blind. And then there's like some other small stuff that happens, like his wife goes and like provides for the family, and she gets like a goat, and then like he accuses her of stealing the goat, and then she's like, "No, I didn't steal the goat. Like, what is wrong with you?" But anyway, God hears the prayer, and he goes and sends, I think it's Raphael? Yeah, that sounds right. Raphael down to Earth, disguised as a human, to like help them with their problems. And so Tobit tells Tobias that there's some money that he left in this town called Media, I think is what it's called. So he needs like a guide to get there, right? So Tobias is looking for this guide, and then it turns out, oh, wouldn't you know it, Raphael is the guide he ends up choosing. So they start to make their journey over there, right? And a fish wants to like attack him or something, Tobias. So he ends up like grabbing the fish and like killing the fish. So quick sidebar here, because I looked into this. Apparently different translations say different things, but in the KJV it says devoured. Like the fish wanted to devour him. But in another translation it says was trying to like swallow his foot. And I guess devour can also mean like severely injure, in the context it was written and in the original language that it was written. Anyway, I don't know. I wanted to include that because I looked it up, and there's really no fish that would be in the Tigris, because I don't know if I mentioned this, but it was in the Tigris River. There's no fish in the Tigris River that would be capable of actually like killing a man. It's not like the giant catfish that you see in like Europe or South America, or I mean even Asia, even like parts of Asia. So anyway, regardless, he goes and he takes the fish out of the water and he kills it, and then Raphael tells him, all right, you're going to want to hold on to you want to put the heart, the liver, and the gallbladder of the fish in your back pocket, okay? And he's like, okay, all right. So he goes and he puts them in his back pocket, right? Oh, and those are going to be a mystery mouse tool that he can use later, or that will come in handy later. So he goes and meets up with, he meets Sarah along the way and her family, because I want to say that they're like in the same tribe, if I'm not mistaken, as Tobit, and they like know Tobit, and Tobit is like a good dude, and Raphael tells him, oh yeah, you need to marry this woman, right? So he is like, okay, alright, I'm gonna marry this woman. And this is also the part that I wanted to talk about in a little bit more detail too. Raphael gives him the breakdown on Sarah, that there's like a demon and whatnot, and it's killing her husbands. But uh, she is supposed to be with him, so he needs to, on the night that they get married and they go uh to Marvin Gaye style Get It On, he's got to take perfume and mix it with the heart and the liver of the fish and burn it, and then that's gonna like make the demon run away for some reason. But it's interesting that it should say that, and I couldn't tell you if this is like a part of the same tradition, if this just ripped off Tobit, or if this is just legit. And I don't know. I'm not a scholar on this, so all I can do is report the facts. So in the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is a grimoire that talks about like summoning and banishing demons, because it was said that King Solomon could do that, and that he had like a special ring in order to do this, that had like the name of God on it or something maybe. And it was also said somewhere, I don't know where, that King Solomon, the reason that the temple was built so quickly is because he enslaved demons to build it. But anyway, regardless of all of that, in the Lesser Key of Solomon, it not only brings up this exact demon by name, like the same name that's in Tobit appears in the Lesser Key of Solomon. It starts with an A. I don't remember. It's not Astaroth. It's another name. Anyway, the method of burning the heart and liver of a fish to get rid of it is consistent with the Lesser Key of Solomon. The Lesser Key of Solomon will say, like, in order to get rid of certain demons, you have to, like, burn, like, fish parts. I remember hearing about that. So it's kind of an interesting, like, parallel there. So do with that what you will. Yeah. So they go and they get married. Also, I think they're cousins, which is, I don't know why we've got the going on, but that seems to happen a lot in the Old Testament. It's like, stop marrying your cousin. Stop it. Stop. Or even worse, I mean, take a look at the King David's son that went and forced himself upon his half sister, which is just like, please stop it. But anyway, they get married, and then they go to Get It On, and he burns the fish heart and the fish liver, right? So everything is good, everything is cool. The demon is like, ew, grody, fish parts, burning, ew, and he, like, disappears, and then Raphael goes and binds him. So they're married, right? And he ends up taking a little bit extra time, Tobias does, getting home. And while that's going on, I think he sends Raphael over to go pick up, like, the money. Because I guess in those days, you just trusted the random stranger to go and pick up your family fortune, I guess. So he goes and picks it up, and they're all happy, and they're like, all right, let's head home. Meanwhile, Tobit and his wife think that that his son is dead. So they're all sad, and then they end up showing up, right? And it's a big, happy family reunion, and they meet his wife, and yeah, Tobias's wife, Tobit, and his wife meet her, and they're all happy, and then Raphael, remember that last mystery mouse Cthulhu I told you about, the gall. So Raphael tells him to place the fish gall in his father's eyes, and then something else I wanted to mention. You know how I said it is medically possible for you to get, like, a fungal infection in your eye that would cause blindness from a bird shitting in your eye? Well, apparently the way the book described the blindness and, like, just like how his eyes were afflicted because of it is consistent with a fungal infection, which is interesting. Especially considering they wouldn't have known about all of that back when the book was written. But anyway, regardless, moving on. He goes and he puts the fish gall in his eyes, and he is miraculously healed. I say miraculously because doing that will not cure a fungal infection. It just won't. I've heard that there are some antifungal agents, I guess you could say, in fish gall, but it's not enough to be able to, like, fix it. So, assuming the story is true, which, I mean, I got a couple of questions, that would be one of the main ones. Then, the fish gall thing would not work unless if it was just, like I said, a miracle. God just wanted him to do that to, like, show he was faithful, I guess. I don't know. I'm not God. That would be my guess, is it was more of a test of faith rather than actually, meant to do anything. Though I do like when God tells you to do something and it matches up with science that we would come to know and understand thousands of years later. That, so anyway, regardless, they go and they sing, like, a happy song, and they have, like, a feast, and then Tobit does a prayer at the end. And some of the things that I brought up earlier was that, and I forgot to mention, Raphael reveals he's an angel, and they get all scared, and he's like, no, you're cool, you're good. But Raphael tells them that he had brought their prayers to God So that's kind of defending veneration of saints, or like praying to, or directing prayers to angels. And it's like, I just don't agree with that. Like, you pray to God himself, or Jesus, which I mean is God himself. Um, that it's just kind of defeating. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say it's defeating the point of Jesus, but like it definitely defeats a pretty big portion of Jesus, if you believe that, because it's like Jesus is the mediator. He is the go between us and God. There's not like someone else who's there, So I don't particularly agree with that, but yeah, that's the story there. That's Tobit. Um, but yeah, I don't particularly agree with that part. I don't know how I feel about it. Like it feels like a strange inclusion into the Bible. Some pretty weird shit happens in the book. Like I said, a bird shitting in his eyes and then he goes blind. Like, that's bizarre. Um, uh, I mean, I personally, I don't like have a huge problem with this, because uh, I think this is actually very real, considering the Book of Enoch, and it just kind of makes sense. Um, but some people don't like the whole angels like appearing as humans deal. Um, so like a lot of people will take issue with Raphael appearing um, as a human. Again, personally, I don't take issue with that. I more so take issue with veneration of saints, and like praying, or at least directing your prayers, because I mean, it's not like Catholics are worshiping Mary, but I don't think that you should be directing prayers to her. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of stuff with Catholics and Mary, and maybe one day we'll get into that, but personally, I don't feel like she's all that important, other than, giving birth to Jesus. Um, that was kind of her, like, highlight moment. I don't think that she has anything to do with my salvation, or anything to do with really anything else anymore. Like, I feel like her part has been played. She served her role. But anyway, and the whole fish thing is a little odd. Um, and I'm not sure how I feel about the whole demon part, because I do believe demons are real, but do you use fish guts to cast them out? I don't. I'm not gonna say no. I'm just gonna say I don't know, because I mean, for as much as I would like it to be real because I think it's cool, I'm not sure how, like, accurate real or authentic. That's the word I was looking for. The Lesser Key of Solomon is. So while it's a nice little, like, Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV screen moment, I don't know how I feel about it. I certainly have not done enough. I have certainly not done enough research into it to be able to definitively say one way or the other. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Tobit. Also, it's kind of weird because, I mean, typically, if God directly intervenes like that, it's typically like someone pretty important, like, for example, God protecting Moses, like baby Moses in the basket, right? Like, that makes sense. Moses was a pretty big figure, pretty important, you needed him to live. Let's see, who else? Well, what's another good example? Like, I mean, okay, here's a great example. Daniel and Daniel in the lion's den, or the one I was thinking of is from the book of Daniel, but it's not Daniel. It's the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I think that's their names. They get thrown into the fire, and it's like, well, those guys, from what I understand, were like prophets. So it would be pretty important for them to, like, go through and live so that they can, continue to prophesy. And it also is nice to have some street cred, some heaven street cred, I guess, to your prophesying. Meaning, like, people can look at you and be like, oh, absolutely, these guys are like, they've got that pipeline with God, because, I mean, we've seen these, like, incredible miracles that they've done, or these incredible things that have happened around like Elijah and lighting the altar on fire. I guess he technically didn't do that, but they can be like, oh yeah, that, Elijah talked to God and that happened, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's got that heaven street cred. But from what I gathered, Tobit wasn't really a prophet, and neither was Tobias. They just kind of were like good people doing their best in a messed up situation, from what I understand. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they were prophets, and maybe that's why, but and that's a very direct a very direct intervention. And the only other, like, super direct intervention that I can think of in what I consider to be canon in the Bible, there's 2 points. One is, like, the flood, and the other is, directly related to the flood, and it's in Enoch, when God sends angels down to slay some Nephilim. And to me that makes sense, but I can't think of another time where something kind of similar happened in the Bible? Again, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Tobit, but I feel like it was, it was worth reading, Yeah, so I guess maybe next week I'll talk about Judith, because I'm reading that one right now. Because I guess. See, I asked ChatGPT to just put them in order, like the books of the Bible, including like the Deuterocanonical, and Apocrypha. Um, so yeah, it went Nehemiah, Tobit, Judith, and then I think we're back to a like an actual canon book after Judith. But Judith should be interesting. Yeah. Like I said, I don't entirely know. We'll find out next week. So let me go ahead and put up this book here. And now we need a Bible verse. Okay, this is a classic one. We actually talked about this one in a previous episode of SFC. Romans 8:31. If God be for us, who can be against us? There we go. Alright, so thank you to anyone who may have tuned in and didn't chat with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the YouTube crowd who's going to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.